Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It looks like we have a slow crowd coming in. Oh, are we slow? Hurry up, get in here. No, I'm just kidding. Hooga, hooga. Mama Freddie, Tamra, Annie Oakley, 777. Y'all got hot coffee? I got hot coffee. Uh-oh, Dragonflies needs hot coffee, and I didn't go grab her hot coffee. Oh, shame on me. Good evening, Sherry. Good evening, everybody. We had another sad situation in the YouTube world. Many of you might know North Shore Preparedness, and over the Christmas holiday, he passed away. He had been sick, and great loss to the community. Good evening, Barb. Good evening, dreaded seeker. But let's lift his family up in prayer, thoughts, and hope. Um, I'm sure that there's many people that he touched a lot of people's lives. He was a really good guy. I remember one of the first times I watched him, and he told me that I said, "Why do you still got your clock is not changing times?" And he had left it that way for years and years. But he was a great guy and a great part of the prepping and preparedness community. Especially, he had a very good influence in Canada, and he definitely will be missed. He definitely will be missed. Good evening, Brandy, Sherry Leach. Yeah, he was a good guy, Miss Sherry. Good evening, Sandy, dreaded seeker. So we're going to get into the First Amendment. I've watched so many times that you watch these videos and you see these smart alecks and you're like, why are they being such a smart ass? Or what are they doing? Or why are they doing this? And well, you know, I started really stepping back and doing some research on it, and I was like, oh, Huga, don't cry. Yeah, yeah, he was a good guy. He was always so soft spoken, and he just had a way about him. He had a way about him. Um, very sad, folks. And let's honestly, let's do some praying tonight for North Shore's family, for Sean's family. Um, but you know, I talked about it this morning too about North Shore. Just kind of threw me for a loop. I was just kind of like, whoa, we never know when it's our time to go home, when those bells going to ring. And that's why we got to make every day count and reach as many people as we can with truth, light, love, and hope. And he did. He did. He definitely did. Um, when it comes to the First Amendment, though, I want to talk about this, and then I'm going to open up the panel for people to jump on and give their thoughts about this. But the first and the second, people always in the preparedness community, always talking about the second, the second, the second. What about the first? What about the First Amendment? You know, um, Let me lift the spirits here a little bit. Let me lift the spirits. Here we go.
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Well, I guess that takes care of that, right? That takes care of that. you know, the thing that I had to cheer us up a little bit. Watching them fall on their faces was kind of hilarious. But there's five rights, and what does the First Amendment guarantee? It guarantees five rights: the freedom of religion. Typically, the First Amendment refers to the inclusion or addition of the Bill of Rights to the American Constitution. And one of the very first freedoms the Bill of Rights mentions is that of religion. Looking to the US today, you'd be tempted to believe that it always was allowed, that people had the freedom to practice whatever kind of religion they wanted. Then comes in the freedom of speech. And this is where all these First Amendment audits have been coming up. People have been testing the line. They have been going after the police in many, many ways because the thing is I never realized the intimidation, the force, the threats, the demand that almost arm twisting when they pull you over that you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to say this and that. And they try to get you to kind of incriminate yourself is what they do. But the harassment, I remember driving through my mom's hometown and she said, "Be careful, you have out of state plates. If you're going up this hill, they're going to get you." And they did. They got me. And he wanted me to sign it, and he was putting me under pressure to sign it. I wouldn't sign it because he was putting me under duress to sign that right then, right there. And I was like, "No, I'm not signing it. I was not speeding. I'm not gonna sign it," you know? And that, makes you kind of think like, do they have the right? Do they have the legal right to pull you over, start asking you questions that really is none of their business? I had one officer pull me over and ask me, "Where do you work? What is this company that your vehicle's registered to?" Am I obligated? Am I obligated to tell him? No, I'm not. And I didn't know it at the time, but I told him it was none of his business. I didn't know the legalities or the correct way to say anything. I just said, I don't have to answer that. It's, write me the ticket if you're going to write me the ticket and let me go. It was for running a stop sign, which he had followed me for miles. And honestly, I know he was following me to basically run my plates, see who I was, see what I was doing. And then he just had too many questions. And I was like, over running a stop sign, you think that you have the right to ask me all this? And honestly, folks, they put you under stress and it's harassment to the point that you're going, you don't have the right to talk to me this way. You don't have the right to ask me this. And you're right, Justin, they keep people in fear. It's very negative. And they want you to lose control on them. They want you to step over the line and get aggressive or do something that's out of manner so that they could turn around, right? That they could turn around and arrest you. See, the police, and I support the men in blue to a point, but I don't support them pulling you over for nonsense. And how many times, if you have a issue or a problem and you call on the police, all it does is make your problem bigger. They drag you into court, more money, more time, more effort on something that could have been settled among people if people were able to talk. You got pulled over for not using your blinker. Like I said to the cop, no one's on the road. Who am I blinking to? Exactly. Wink, wink, But it gets to the point that we're living in a police state. Most police departments around the country, and I may be wrong, it may be 100% of them, are for profit corporations. They're not ran by the government. They all have Dun and Bradstreet numbers, which makes them a for profit entity. And that, my friends, I have a problem with. They're not here to serve us like they're supposed to be. They're here in a harassment type way. And it's very, very important to know your rights, to know how the First Amendment protects you. This last year, 2 years, it's been going on for a long time, but we're seeing it more and more because people are testing the limits. People are actually standing up to these officers and saying, "No, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sign this." Yeah. Oh, and exactly. They have to make their numbers. That's just that's a given. And I think most people, we all say that, right? And they try to say, "No, no, no. We don't have any numbers to meet." Bullshit. Bullshit. They do. They have a quota that they have to meet. And I'll tell you about this small town in Nebraska. So they trap people on this hill, and the speed limit changes very quickly. And they trap people. If you have out of state plates, you're guaranteed to get pulled over, because most people traveling there are just driving through. They're not going to come back for court, so they're going to pay it. So my mother showed me the newspaper, and they list all the tickets, right? They list all the tickets. There was like over 60 tickets all stopped on that hill. And the locals, you hardly seen any Nebraska plates. These were all out of staters. Tell me that that is not a setup. It's a setup. It's all about money. So for each person, even when they dropped my ticket, because I called the city county attorney, they dropped my ticket, right? But they still charged me $50 court fee. So I went and I talked to him. I said, I didn't go to court. The ticket got dropped. Why do you want me to pay court fees? I'm not paying court fees. Well, we're going to put a warrant out for you. No, you're not. No, you're not. So I went and talked to the county attorney again. And I said, why would I pay court fees when I didn't take up any court time? And he said, you're right. We'll drop it. I said, I thought so. See, until you stand up for your First Amendment, you don't know what you can or can't do. And the thing is there's a lot of people that always say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that in the preparedness community, in the homesteading community. But I'll tell you what, there is a lot of First Amendment people, men and women, standing up against this criminal activity. One case that just recently got settled was Colorado Springs. They had to pay $41,000 after a First Amendment audit of police, and that's a low one. That is a low one. Excuse me, this was an older one. This is an older one, but I'm going to show the video. Let's watch the video and let's see what we all think about this. So they did pay him 41,000, but they're paying out millions of dollars because these men in blue don't know the law. They don't know what to say, how to react, or what to do. So listen to this. Let's listen.
The city of Colorado Springs will pay up $41,000 for this encounter on camera.
Well, you have to have reasonable suspicion that committed a crime.
We first this video of Colorado Springs police and a man who calls himself an amendment auditor back in November. New tonight, 11 reporter Catherine is live at the police station where it first happened, the Falcon substation off North Academy. And Catherine, I know you talked to the man in the video. What does he think of the 41,000?
He tells me the money is good, but to him, it's not the most important thing in this settlement. He also got a change in police policy.
You can't legally detain me for suspicious activity.
Absolutely, I can.
This moment, recorded by Terrell Clayton, is costing the city of Colorado Springs $41,000.
You have to have reasonable suspicion that committed a crime.
Because you're outside a law enforcement facility,
Okay.
acting suspicious. That's all I need.
Clayton claims he was illegally detained by police.
All I had was this camera, and I pretty much just had it like this.
He started filming marked police cars outside the station in November.
I just need some pictures of some marked units.
Then this happened.
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
Do you have an ID I can see?
I'd rather not give it.
I'm asking you for an ID or else we're going to detain you and get it.
My goal is not to go there and start problems.
Flip the script for just a second, okay? Guys taking pictures of our back gate of our secured lot, okay? Guys taking pictures of our building in this climate.
The video was viewed tens of times on YouTube. 6 months later, $41,000 and police policy.
The thing is did he have the right to be on public property taking pictures? You bet he did. He did. And this proves it. And there's so many of them. Let's listen to the rest of it here.
Must now state that taking photographs or recording from a public place in and of itself does not constitute suspicious activity.
Ultimately, that is the kind of change that I was looking for, and that was the whole purpose for doing this.
Part of the settlement includes that the city does not have to admit any wrongdoing, but the police department does need to create a video addressing the First Amendment right to record a police officer in a public place. All of the officers need to watch that video by December 31st. Live in Colorado Springs, Catherine Silver.
So it's really important that people continue to do this, because the thing is they don't have the rights that they think they do. They don't have the right to bully you. They don't have the right to coerce you into doing something you don't want to do. And they don't have the right to put you under duress. The thing is, you would think the police would know the law. You would think they would, Justin. But honestly, they really don't. I've watched hundreds and hundreds of these videos, and they really don't get it. Not only that, so many times we've seen excessive force used against these people, against people just like me and you. And it comes to a point. Hold on, here's a good one. You had an officer pull you over for a headlight out. I had just pulled out from the auto parts store and showed it to him and asked him if he wanted to put it in for me. Well, there you go. Uh, but it is really true, because see, without people standing up for the First Amendment, folks, it's going to be gone. And when it's gone, we're going to be at the point of a complete police state where they can get away with anything they want. And I think at this time, if anybody'd like to come up on the panel and share your thought, your idea, something that happened to you, you're more than welcome to. Um, this is an open panel show, meaning that it's not about channel creators, it's about all of us. And I welcome anybody to come up. I think the most important thing is that each and every one of us have to stand up for the First and the Second. I want to read something real quick. Um, the First Amendment is widely considered to be the most important part of the Bill of Rights. It protects the fundamental rights of consciousness, the freedom to believe and express different ideas in a variety of ways. Under the First Amendment, Americans have both the right to exercise their religion as well as to be free from the government coercion to support religion. In addition, freedom of speech, press, and petition make democratic self-government possible by promoting the open exchange of information and ideas. Unpopular ideas are especially protected by the First Amendment because popular ideas already have support among the people. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Freedom for the thought that we hate is important to the discovery of truth because sometimes viewpoints change." And I thought that was such an interesting phrase. Freedom for the thought that we hate is important to the discovery of truth. That, my friends, is seeking truth. And that's really important. How you doing, Georgie?
Not bad. How you doing there, guy?
Pretty good.
You were talking about those illegal speed traps. They have them over there in Grandview, Missouri, where they have a cop just standing underneath the overpass there over in Grandview, Missouri. This is. He's up there and he's shooting radar, while there's other cops ahead of him going to pull the cars over. That is totally illegal. That's misuse of funds right there.
Well, look at the other video that we watched, what was it, a week or two ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago, with the ladies that they arrested. You know, the lady was in her 80s and the other one in her 60s, and they arrested them. Why? Oh, because they were feeding cats, trapping them, and getting them fixed. You know, you would think that our government would say thank you, that they would say thank you for taking off some of the taxpayer burden to do these things, because they were paying for it out of their own pocket. Now, those women they got 2 years unsupervised probation, 10 days they gave them time served, but the women are fighting it. And I think that they should fight it because, you know, there comes a point that there's this overreach. And even the lady that was sitting in the car that day, and you can go back and watch the video if y'all missed it, but she was sitting in the car and he said, "Well, I gave you 15 minutes to leave." Well, 15 minutes to leave, You were talking to her the whole 15 minutes. There's also a minister up in Canada that was arrested. There's also a lady that I watched over in England, and she was arrested for saying a prayer across the street from an abortion clinic. That right there, my friends, is very sad. Now, Barb said, I know a preacher that was wrongfully handcuffed. The preacher was on public sidewalk. The police was told he was on YouTube. The police tried to say the pastor was on private property. And see, they like to pull that. And that's, it comes to a point when it's public property, we have the right to be there. We have the right to stand on that property. We have the right to videotape. We have the right to congregate. We have the right to express our feelings of anything. If as long as you're not causing harm or ill will to a person or an object, you're in your rights to do that.
Yeah, and another thing is, I remember watching on YouTube here was that where the cop pulled this gal over, but he didn't give her a ticket. He was hunting for a source of her problems because her taillights were not working. He was actually searching for the problem for her to go
Yeah.
and fix it for her. I thought that was so neat of him doing that. And she turned right around and she thanked the police chief and that cop right there that actually did that for her. I thought that
And
was so neat.
well, and that's my thing. I'm not going to sit here and say every police
Yeah.
officer doesn't care, but these ones that are overstepping their boundaries,
Yeah, like those
that
two cops did, yes.
yeah,
I
that's
totally
why
agree with the jurisdiction.
that's why we have to continue to exercise our First Amendment. Because if we don't, then you have way bigger situation, way bigger situation. And that's one of those things that you have to look at and say, okay, this is what happened. And do I stand on my First Amendment? You may go to jail over your First Amendment. And are you willing to do that? That's the thing. And so many people are going to crumble and say, no, I'm not willing to stand on the First Amendment. So many people are not willing to lay it all on the line, and there comes a point that you have to decide, am I willing to hold the line? Am I willing to do this? Here's another one. Barb is stating, I was pulled over for speeding. State Patrol asked why. I said I was late for my son's therapy. He looked in the back seat and Ben was sitting there with his headphones on. He gave me a warning and let me go. See, and I got pulled over once in Los Angeles, and I was so wrong. I was so wrong. Okay, 2 a.m. coming back from Santa Monica. I ran a red light. We went and picked up my motorcycle, and the girls were following me. I was on my bike. I was showing off. I ran a red light, ran a stop sign, ran another red light, and whoop, 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 here comes the lights. So as soon as I pulled the bike over, I jumped off the bike, stood by the bike, and I said, I have no driver's license, I have no insurance, I have no plates. I ran a stop sign and I ran 2 red lights. He said, you're the most honest guy I ever met in my life. Get back on your He said, get back on your bike and go home. I said, yes, sir. And he said, don't let me see you again on Arrow Highway in San Dimas, California. And I said, you got it. But he said he was shocked because I was so honest. But I knew I was screwed. I mean, I was totally wrong. I shouldn't have been driving the bike in the first place. But
Yeah,
I just figured, let it all out and see where it goes, and that's where he went. That's where he went, and he said, "Oh, go ahead," And I was actually shocked. I was thinking, I'm about to get my bike hauled off and me hauled off to East Los Angeles County Jail, which would not have been fun. So. But the thing is no, I think the thing is that people have to realize that, there's good officers that do know the law and will give people a break, but then the bad apples are the ones that really are. One, they're costing a lot of money to their police departments and their sheriff's departments. Two, they're putting a lot of people in harm. They're putting a lot of people. Yeah, I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong, Dragonflies. I mean, there was no getting around. I was wrong. And but the thing is I think sometimes honesty blows a police officer away because most people get nervous and they don't want to tell the truth and they kind of stutter and well, yeah, yeah, you know, you might as well just let it out and get it over with.
Yeah, another
Yep.
thing I was watching also here on YouTube where this one young man who was an African American boy actually helped out this one elderly lady. She's white, and the cop saw him right there. He goes and puts his jacket up over the lady to help her get her stuff to her car, and he helped put it in. And within the next day or two, they come by and they gave him an award. I thought that was so neat. That
Yeah.
and some other stuff in there, some other stuff there too that's happened. I remember watching also there too. One gal out there,
Yeah.
she used to walk from home. She left home way early so she could be there to work on time. She walked the whole distance, and she got off. When she got off, she walked all the way back on home. And the cops, all of them right there got together, and they got her a car. I thought that was so neat.
Yeah, well, and I think, like there is some officers honestly that deserve some attaboys, but
Yeah,
they don't have this ego that like Dragonflies is saying is that I took his ego away before he could even go ballistic on me. And the thing is a lot, we have to look at it from their point of view too. Sometimes they think they're walking up to a calm situation, and then somebody does something totally irrational and crazy toward them. And so that's when they get a little freaked out and they start doing things. And that's so true, Simon. So true. We have so many that are yelling defund the police
yeah,
because but the thing is I think body cams and car cams in every car across the country is crucial. I think it's
yeah,
crucial to keep these officers in check, and I think it's crucial to have that as a witness for people, period. And I think it would be very, very smart. um, Yep, yep. That I think it would be very, very smart for each one of us to have our own camera. We live in the age of smartphones, and it's very easy to pick up your phone and start recording. But if you actually had that camera attached to your car, one, if you ever got in a wreck, right, it could really help you as proof that whose fault it really was, because those cameras pick up a lot. The other thing, right, is that having that footage keeps the police officer in check. It keeps them in check because they know that camera is watching them and can be used against them as well as that footage could be used against us. And
mhm,
I think that's really important that both parties are put in check, because I used to watch these videos, man, and I would think, my God, he's a smartass, but really he was exercising his First Amendment right. If you really know the law in every state across the country, you actually have the right to travel from point A to point B with no driver's license, no insurance, no tag, nothing, because the driver's license is actually based around commercial or carrying someone in your vehicle, which makes you doing commerce. And without doing commerce, you actually have the legal right. But do people stand up for that? Not very often, because people don't want the harassment and they don't want to go to jail. Now, I will give it to the First Amendment auditors that are all over YouTube, because they are pushing the limits. They're pushing the limits. They're willing to go to jail. They're willing to get tased. Some of them are actually willing to even get a bullet in the ass for it, because they're standing up for the First Amendment. And I think that as we watch this country fall apart, if we don't start standing for something, we're all going to fall for everything. And we already are. I've been talking to somebody behind the scenes, and they're not from the United States. They're from over where the conflict's at. And my heart goes out to them because you got to imagine this. It's a little off topic, but it's been on my mind all day, George. They were telling me that all day, all night, that they hear the air raid sirens. I don't know about y'all, but and they said they're living okay with it. That they're used to it now. And I'm thinking, shit, I don't want to get used to that. I don't want to get used to that.
There'd be no way in hell would I be getting used to that.
No, no.
First time I heard that damn thing, I would be downstairs and I'd stay down there. I don't care. Hell, that bullshit.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna, I wouldn't. You want me to come back out? I'd say, no, thank you. I'll pass.
Simon, I know that you're saying, a lot of them go to jail for about 6 months. I know a lot that have fought it and beat it. What happened on my birthday, Barb? My birthday is January the 6th, and I'll never forget that this birthday, this last birthday. There's a lot of those folks still, in jail. But this is the thing: is when you are instigated by anybody to do something, if you go and do it, you are going to be held accountable for your actions. You're going to be held accountable, not the government, not somebody over here that you say, well, they told me to do it. They told me to come here. They told me to do this or that. And that's where people have to get things right because our government, you think that our government gives a shit if you all rot in jail or if I rot in jail? Hell no. That's the new slave trade. That's the new slavery of the United States. We have more people in the penitentiary than any other country. So when you think about that, I mean, like, seriously, yeah, we are she's a wildflower. We're responsible for our own actions. We're responsible how we react to someone, right?
Yeah.
And we're also responsible. It's like my dad used to tell me, if the guy swings on you first, lay him out, right? But I'm still responsible for my actions. You still are responsible for those actions if you hurt somebody. And even when you stand up for yourself, you still may have big time consequences to pay. And that's, I think, a lot of times, especially here in the United States, we've gotten so used to saying, well, he did it. I shouldn't be responsible for it. I only did this. You're responsible for your actions. You're responsible for your words. You're responsible for the way you act in society. And see, this is the problem with, like, the kids. Think about it. The kids have no they have no respect for authority in any way, shape, or form. That most of them have no respect for their own
Yep.
parents or grandparents, let alone a police officer or a teacher. I mean, I've been watching some of these videos where students will say something and they'll start recording while another student is beating the shit out of a teacher. I can't even imagine being a teacher in the United States of America right now. I can't imagine it.
There'd be no way in hell could I be a teacher.
Yeah.
But I tell you one thing though, like if one of these cops were in a firefight and I was right near one, I'd help him out immediately. Damn right I would. And if he ordered me to pick up a gun, I wouldn't. I'd defend him. I
And
wouldn't.
see, because you have respect, George. It's
Mhm.
just like I have respect for the military. I have respect for EMTs, first responders, firefighters. I have a lot of respect for teachers. I don't know how teachers do it nowadays. I really don't. I was looking on Indeed.com at jobs that they had listed, and a listing popped up, and it said kindergarten teacher, $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month? Are you shitting me? Oh, hey, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I think that we all have to draw a line, but we also have to realize that a lot of these men and women in uniform are our brothers and sisters, are on our side. It's not us against them. It's us against the machine. It's us against the machine.
Yep, that's right.
That's so true, Justin. So true. We do have the right to remain silent, but it's very hard when you're agitated or when you feel harassed or when you feel coerced that you have to do something, that you're not going to do something, that you're not going to say something back. I don't know. I'm not seeing any buffering anywhere.
No.
It may be, there's different parts of the country that are having problems right now. We're having perfect internet. We have been, and freedom is now free. Yeah.
I told this one Jeff Posse member, I told him, hey, I teach you guys, but hey, it's all fun and you guys know it. He said, yeah, we appreciate it too because you make our day. But, whenever I tease him out there,
I don't know what that is. Hold on. I don't know what that is. No, I don't know what that is.
And,
Elaine,
that,
Elaine, turn your volume down. Turn your volume down. Turn it way, way, way down. Elaine's learning.
Yeah.
You got that volume down or what? So I can unmute you. Here she goes. She's all excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
There she goes. She got it down. What's going on? What's going on with it?
Oh, I just want to say Merry Christmas, everybody. The OTP WP gang. I love you guys. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. And I'm having one. Here's my twin, my sister Karen.
Hi, Merry Christmas.
What's up? What's up? Peace and blessings to y'all. Yeah. I knew Elaine.
And I'm gonna jump off.
Okay. Y'all come back tomorrow night. We got a good show tomorrow night. It's barbaric. So you better come. We're gonna get rough with it tomorrow night.
That's gonna be the barbarian. We're gonna target the snot out of him.
I know you. Right, George? Right, George? I just want to come on real quick and show you my other half. This is my sister. We like twins, and just let her see you. She been watching your videos. She love them. So I'm turning everybody on to you.
Well, thank you, Elaine.
I love you guys.
Boom, baby, boom. Can I get some love, some sugar back? All right.
Yes,
Cool.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
Okay.
Happy Christmas, girl.
Merry Christmas, Elaine.
You too, George. That's what we do. We be up here chilling. You go.
You gotta love you some Elaine, everybody. You gotta love you some Elaine. We love you, Elaine.
She's a sweetheart.
What's crazy to have your kid go to a public school? Isn't that the truth, Josh? I mean, when I seen these beat downs that these teachers are taking on a serious note, this stuff is crazy. 5, 6, 7 teenagers beating down a teacher. And not only the beat down of the teachers, but the whole environment. When I was working for corporate America and I'd go into those schools, I used to be like, geez, what happened to the good old days? What happened to kids being kids and laughing and having fun? I felt like I was walking into the dang jail cells. I did. It was sad.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great, Justin. When I went to Jamaica, they almost gave me a heart attack, y'all. We jump in that bus and we were going from Montego Bay up to Ocho Rios. And once I got on the bus, it was like a little van thing. And I was like, whoa, what the hell, man? They're driving on the wrong side of the road. Holy shit. Whoa. And you're like right at the edge of the water and stuff. I bet you that was a nightmare to learn how to drive that way. Someone gave you the middle finger. I guess you were. Yeah. Did you? Hold on. I gotta ask Justin. Justin, did you ever get stuck in a roundabout where they're driving like maniacs and you're trying your damnedest to get off that thing, and nobody will let you over because they don't drive like we do. They just drive, and hey, it's one of those things you go, holy shit. But I'll tell you what, we stopped halfway between Montego Bay and Ocho Rios at a little hut. And at the hut, everybody came out with trash bags and they all had Red Stripe beer. And I was like, yes, I need a beer because that was nerve wracking as shit to go around that windy road for an hour. It was crazy. That was crazy. Freedom is
about down here in Yuma.
Yeah.
That time you can't even figure out which way you're going to go.
Well, they started putting these roundabouts everywhere in the United States, and it's absolutely crazy. You're English by birth. Your car caught on fire on a roundabout. Well, you caused some bullshit that day, didn't you, buddy? I would have
Damn.
loved. Hey, the car's going around the circle, then flames. I'll tell you one time when I went down to Mexico. This was when I was in the Navy, way back in the day. So I go down to Tijuana. Actually, nope, I take that back. We were going to Rosarito or Ensenada to watch the Super Bowl, and I get on this road, and I was like, uh-oh. And all of a sudden, I see the lights come on. The cop pulls me over. He said, how much money you got? Dinero, dinero. I'm like, I don't have no money. He goes, how much you got? And I said, just this. And I pulled out $10. He said, give it to me. So I gave him my $10. He said, which way is the United States? I said, that way. He said, go, or you go to Tijuana jail. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, okay, let me get out of this area. And, that's when you really realize we have a lot more freedoms in this country than a lot of countries do.
Yeah, those cops down there are corrupt.
Huh?
My mother actually ran across.
Oh, I wasn't doing wrong. Dragonflies asked me why he told me to go back to America because I guess because he was trying to get bribery money out of me, didn't want me to say something to someone else. I don't know. He just told me to go back to America, and I decided that would probably be in the best interest. So I went back to America.
Yeah, my mother and stepfather, they were heading down to Mexico just to go and see the stuff. And they had this one guy, this one soldier, wielding a AK-47 with him. And they pulled over, they stopped, so they could go and search the vehicle. Well, he came close to her purse right there. She said, "That's mine." She grabbed it, and he went for my stepfather's wallet. She said, "That's mine too." He
Wow.
backed out and he left.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, Huga's talking about she'd been to Tijuana. She wouldn't want to see a jail there. I remember my first time I went to Tijuana, and I was like, I guess I just got my own apartment there. We called it Chulawana. It was Chula Vista. But you could jump on the trolley, right, George? You could jump on the trolley, go straight across the border. So if you plan on drinking, which those were in my drinking days, I was in the Navy. So of course we jump on the trolley, we go over there, we start partying and stuff. And I remember getting to Tijuana, and I was like, whoa, shit, this is way different here. And I hadn't been out in the world very much. And I tell you what, I was thrown back by the things I seen, by the kids on the street, by people doing their business on the street. I mean, it was one of those things. They give you a shot with every drink, whether you order it or not. Yeah. Or you get an upside down margarita and they shake the shit out of you and spin you in circles. I remember that. Yeah, Josh, whatever. You ain't gonna be nice. Come on up, Josh. Come up and spread some love, light, and hope. Come on.
I remember my first trip down into Mexico. We went from Agadones all the way over to Mexicali. The whole side to the roadway was all nothing but trash and tires, you name it. That's what was alongside the whole road right there.
Yeah. Well, that's like when I went to Puerto Vallarta and went kayaking, and my kayak got flipped over, and when I stood up, I was in Banderas Bay, right? So when I stood up, I was just from the top to the bottom in every crevice, cranny, nook, ears, eyes, and places I don't want to talk about. I was coal black because what they do is they would burn their trash and let their trash, and it would get drifted into that bay. So the water looked beautiful, but if you didn't get past that area, that break, that water was disgusting, freaking nasty as shit. And I'll never forget it because this old Mexican man was sitting there on the bank, and I stood up and I was coal black from head to toe, and he just started laughing. And I said, "Well, that shit ain't funny." He said, "It's funny." It's funny. I was like, "You asshole," because really it wasn't funny. It really was. What's up, Mr. Josh? You gonna be nice tonight? I doubt you can be nice. There's just a couple things we can't talk about on the Tui tube. You know what the rule? You know you
Yeah, I
got to
know. I
do.
get overexcited.
I know, but you're like me, Josh. Just do some effing charades and shit, and work out those extra words that you can't say on the damn tube. Come on now.
I know. I know. I'll try to get better, man. Uh, I tell you, knowing common law, and then you got to realize common law ain't for everybody, and then you got to realize that the thing you need to know the most is maritime law. That's the reason you lucky with the Navy thing, man. And
Yeah.
then flag law, because if you go into a court and you don't know what flag's flying, you don't know what's fixing to happen to you.
Yep. That's the truth. So, have you had any run-ins, First Amendment wise, or have you done any audits yourself? Go ahead, tell
Oh,
one, man. I've
actually,
done. I've done
I,
4.
I lived a little bit of a crazier youth, man, and I dealt with the law quite frequently a long time before I learned I had any rights, much less how to use any of them. But I do have a friend that refuses to get a insurance tag on his vehicle, and he pulls the law over. He don't wait for them to pull him over. He will, if he sees 2 or 3 of them sitting, he pulls up and wants to know why they sitting, what they're doing, why they're doing it. I mean, he's a wild one. But I have to
What?
say, everyone needs to figure out how to get their sovereignty, how to get control of their name and their corporate name. And then they need to know how to get in touch with the IRS and tell them that we know what they're doing and they no longer have the right to. I
Yeah.
believe
Getting rid. Getting rid of your straw man is huge. Is
yes,
huge. And the thing is most people don't even realize it. Like, it took me a long time to realize that, whoa, that's why all my mail comes in a different legal capital name. That's why this happens and this happens. Oh, are you shitting me? And see, the game is to keep people indentured. Indentured. That's
that's
the
right.
game. That's the game, brother, right there.
Okay, I got a little prepared for this because I went by a car lot today and you should have seen them all scattering and running for cover. Okay, to get to get all your stuff right, what you need to do is take your first name. You can capitalize the first letter just like you're signing your name. Then put you a dash after your first name. Then your middle name. Then you want to put a colon. Then you want to put your last name and a period.
Huh.
Now
Yeah.
that is known as your signature from that point on, and that also when you go to signing beneficiary after it, that also turns you into, like, if you got a checking account, anytime you sign a check, put beneficiary after it. In the bank, when they take your check, they'll eventually set your account to a beneficiary state. Then you can start writing 1099As for, like, your power bill. And another thing, any bills you have that come in your name, they are actually a coupon. In what every place like power and water, they're double dipping into your account. So what you do is you tell them you realize there may have been some malfeasance going on here, and you've just caught it. So unbeknownst to you being aware of it, we're gonna let that slide. But I want to go ahead and fill out this coupon so that I never get another power bill or a water bill. See,
Yep.
section 7310 in public law states that the government pays all the beneficiaries' bills. Well, we are the beneficiary. We've been letting them pay with our beneficiary account themselves 3 or 4 times in a row.
And
If people,
have you also, Josh, put is it section 103.8? 103 or 301.8. When you write that on there, then they have to accept that too. They have to accept that. There's a lot to learn about the straw man, about common law and the maritime law. But the thing is that they don't want us to know. They don't
That's
want
right.
con because if you don't know, then you stay indentured to the IRS, to the Social
That's
Security,
right.
to all, and
We,
the Vatican is holding everything. The Vatican is
that's
holding
right.
all of it, all of it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
Fact.
what the
I'm
devil.
not going to disagree with you,
That's what
TWP. It's not,
Hold on.
it's
What,
not
George?
when you see
Italian.
a when you
It's
see
not,
a when you see an
Hold on.
eagle
Hold
on a
on.
flag with it when you see an eagle when you go into court with its wings up, that's for the Vatican. For with its wings down, that's military. So you
Yep.
got to really learn to pay attention. All of them now has got the spiral on top of it because they're at war with the citizens of their country. What you got to do is never say you're a citizen from this point on when you go to signing your natural human name here so you can get your beneficiary rights to your account. You
Well,
cannot
and
say,
if you look back, Josh, at the certificate, birth certificate, before there was never birth certificates. There was never a birth certificate.
that's
People were
right.
born. People were born, and they opened up the Holy Bible. I have one. They opened up the Holy Bible. They wrote the person's name that they gave
That's
them at
right.
birth, and their birth date, and the year and the time. That's it. Then when they started the birth certificates, that's when everything went and they twisted it all up and grabbed everybody by the throat. Period.
Here's another one, man. What about the marriage license? It's got a bond line around it too. So I haven't been able to find that account, but I know there's money tied to that somehow.
To the marriage license. I
Yeah,
got
because
a
it's
I
got
got a
that bond
new
around it.
yeah, I got a book that goes all into that. I'll see if I can find it. If I can, I'll reach out to you via email. That's interesting though, because people don't realize that you are traded. You're traded on the people buy your name. People from all over the world buy your name, and your name shifts from place to place to place to place because they're making profit off of your ass.
That's right.
And while they keep you and me, or they try to keep us indentured mentally, physically, and think about it. Think about our money. Really, our money goes out the door before we even get our money. If if you play their game, if you learn
That's
to
right.
play the game, there's a difference between their game and the game. If you learn to play the game, then they don't have that over you anymore.
That's right.
Fact.
Now, see,
And
when you go
it's
to doing this, you got to be real careful what you, like if you, like today, I went to a car lot, and when I walked up, I went ahead and told them that I was going to be real nice and try to educate them on what's coming at them. Okay, I told them that I'm not going to fill out an application because as soon as I fill out an application and put my social security number on there, then you're contractually obligated to give me a vehicle, and either it can come out of my account or I'll take it out of yours. And I told them that anybody walking in here can do this to you, so y'all need to go to learning. And then I told them how to do the 1099 so I could purchase me a new vehicle because as the beneficiary and as those people operating in that business are trustees of a trust account, then I'm the beneficiary of the trust. So therefore, they're obligated to give me a vehicle when I need a vehicle. You can do
yeah,
one a year. You can do a house a year. And I was trying to squeeze a house and a car in before the end of the year, and then turn around and do the same thing in January. Uh, anybody that uh, anybody and everybody needs to fill out a W-8BN and send it in to the IRS. That stops all taxes of you while you're operating as that corporation.
And see, and that's the thing, Josh. Think about how many people are in D.C. and people always get all upset that, oh, well, they're not paying taxes. No, they know the game. They
That's
know
right.
the game. When I had my
They do not.
when I had set up my LLC, right? I put my grandma on payroll. I put my nephew, my brother, because I was allocated and was able to legally give them $5,000 to $10,000 a year. All it did for me is lowered that tax. Well, then I got really smart and I changed it to a S corp. And when I changed it, then I put myself on payroll to the point that my business never made money, even though my business was booming in Denver, booming. And see,
Yeah, well,
it's all about playing the game instead of playing their game on you. You got to
that's
learn to
right.
play the game. And see, they also hook us up a lot with our vocabulary. They hook us up with the things that come out of our mouth because when you just for example, when you get pulled over, as soon as you answer the first question, they got you by the
That's
hook.
right.
They got
That's
all they
right.
got all they and they gonna say, well, sir, if you could do this, if you could open the window, if you could step out and talk to me, if you could do this or that. And then once they got you hook, line, and sinker, and you step out of your vehicle, you are no longer in your private property. You are now on public property,
That's
and
right.
they can now flip it on you and put the cuffs on you and take you away because you didn't comply to what they wanted. But when
That's
you're in
right.
your own private property, see, that's the key. When you're in your own private property, they can't do that. One time in Dallas, this girl went ballistic outside my house, and the sheriff was trying to come in to talk to me. And he said, open the door. I said, I don't even want to be involved in this bullshit. So I'm not opening the door. He said, well, you have to. I said, I don't have to do shit. This is my own private residence. Well, you have to. I said, we're not going to have this conversation anymore. So I took a beer, popped the top, started drinking, sat down and smoked a cigarette, looked at him through the window, and, and he turned around and left because I didn't have to comply to his bullshit. He is, if I would have opened the door, then I could have been questioned and blah 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 blah, and it would have went on, and I didn't want to be involved in it.
Well, the few times I've got the joy of dealing with the police, it's been wonderful. Uh, actually, they came to try to take my son away from me when I was fighting through a divorce over my child. And I met him outside, and I said, "Man, you can look at him through the window, but I don't care what you got on. I don't care what a judge wears. I don't care what none of you say. That's my kid, and y'all not getting anywhere near him." Uh, they left the kid, but it was only due to the fact that it was a good cop. You know, there are good ones. There are ones that know that hell, they ain't got much of a choice now. There's too many of us out here telling them what the laws are. Uh, really, to think that you've been given that responsibility and you don't even know the first thing to do with your Constitution, the amendments. Uh, See, now
Yep.
this is where we was talking previous, and I told y'all that we were under the District of Columbia's Constitution instead of the Constitution that we're familiar with, that we're supposed to be under. But see, it's all in wrong syntax grammar, so therefore none of it was ever real to begin with because they didn't nobody know. I mean, you got to think if they was everybody was illiterate and there was one guy reading to them,
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
E- exactly.
and he didn't know how. You can't blame what happened. The poor teacher, she stood up there and teaches you what she learned in college, uh, because that's what she was told to stand up there and teach you. She don't know no difference. If you don't
Right.
go past what you think you know and put all of it aside and go, well, hell, I'm gonna scare the shit out of myself today. You don't never learn nothing, and
But
it's sad that we've done that. See,
but
like
that's the
in the
thing.
Bible, check
That
check
is the
this one
thing,
out,
though.
man. In the Bible, it says in the Bible it says the kingdom is within you. Uh, Pretty much is telling you that You're an individual king. Well, okay, king. When you look at the word, that's knowledge in grammar. When you look at knowledge, that's knowing how to knowing that's knowing now lotial etiquette for grammar at maritime.
Right. Well, see, the
It's
thing is that
actually
they want to keep people under their thumb because
that's right.
think how much wealth they've stolen from us, from our ancestors, from the people that really own this land, which is us.
That's right.
We own this
That's
land.
right. That's
And
right.
see this NWO that wants to roll in. They don't want anybody to own anything. They want to
Yeah,
own it
we don't already.
and and, and they
We
want
don't all
yep, they want to
unless
share it
you
with
go
you.
to yeah, you're basically paying rent, and you think you got ownership the whole time. If you don't
Well,
go
yeah,
do a
but think about this,
land,
Josh.
you
You
gotta
gotta
do your
you
deed in the
gotta
land.
you got a deed to your land. You got a title to your car. You
You
got a
gotta have
birth
a
certificate.
land patent.
You got a birth
Go get a
certificate. You
land
got a
patent.
social security card. Think about all these numbers and all these certificates and who owns
That's
them
right.
really. What is the damn purpose of, like when my father passed away? I'll tell you this. When my father passed away, Social Security knew right then, like he must have passed away, and the nursing home told, like reported it right away. It boom into the system. The next morning, all of his money was frozen. Every freaking dime in his account was froze. Why? Why? Because that way they can pull it back in. Up, another one gone. Let me pull some more money back in. They steal our wealth on a daily basis because we allow them to.
Now, see, that's another one that I really want to
Yeah,
try to
the
look into.
system. The system.
Is the each one of those people's got this same trust account. Well, see, damn, it being your dad, wouldn't your dad leave you the inheritance? You know what I'm saying? Or at least split it between the living ones. So
Well,
therefore, the
and this
government
is
cannot be the
hold on.
inheritor of that trust.
This is the topper, Josh, right? So I have a half brother that my father gave up for adoption. I was signed as the executor of his estate, correct? Which means
Mm-hmm.
that once he left this earth, I was in charge of everything, whatever I felt
Everything.
was best, everything. And there was a living will, a will, all of it was done. Social Security gives you a lousy $200 or $400
That's
to
right.
bury someone.
Yep.
They would not release the money to me because I wasn't married to my father. I'm like, hold on a minute. It says family member. It does not say husband or wife. In the documentation from Social Security, it says family member executor. I find out a year later they gave the $400 to my half brother that was adopted when he was 2 years old. And in return, my half brother is an award to the state. We're trying to fight that right now because he has Asperger's. The state will not let him go. They want to keep him because now
That's right, because he gives the money.
he gets my father's Social Security. He gets his disability. He has over $7,000 in his trust account, and they will not buy the kid a new TV. They will not. He's a kid because I'm going to be 57. He's 26. They will not buy him a pair of freaking tennis shoes. It's bullshit. Yep,
Mm.
and we ended up turning around. I took responsibility. I paid for his cremation. I paid for his everything, and they froze his money. My mother, and they'd been divorced for years and years and years. My mother told me, "Go, KJ, because you know that it's almost over. Get everything out of that account except bare minimum." And thank God I listened to her because literally the next morning when he passed at 2:30. At 8 a.m. his account was froze solid.
Yeah,
Yep,
man.
they
Now
dirty.
look with your brother. Oh, charge them with kidnapping and theft. If it don't do anything but cause a court case, once you get into court, you can kind of down go, hey, we're his living kin. These people are not his kin. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Charge
Well,
them with a crime. It'll cost you $150 to go file the paperwork, and bam, you know what I mean? It has to be heard.
we need to do something for him because they just keep shifting him from one house to another house, and his he has this, he has Asperger's, but he can work. But
Yeah,
they told him he can't work because if he works, then they don't get
it'll
the
mess with his
grant.
money.
Well, they don't get the grant for his housing, so they're discouraging him from working, from becoming a productive citizen, even though he has Asperger's. Yeah, it's
That's
a
crazy, man.
vicious.
Keep you disabled to be able. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's totally
exactly.
messed up.
Yeah, the
Should
place
be
that I'm
helping
living.
him so he can help himself. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what you'd think. Especially if he can work.
Hey, George
Yeah, the
wants to
place,
say something. Go ahead, George.
Go
the
ahead.
place I'm living on right here is still in my mother's name. The water is in her name, but the only thing that's not in her name is the electric, my dish network, the gas. Well, not gas, but I don't have gas anymore. The garbage is not in her name, but the taxes are. The property taxes are, but not for my trailer though. The trailer is
Okay,
mine.
I can
But the only thing
listen.
is, I can't work because if
Is
I
she
make
still
over a
alive?
certain
No,
no,
his mom's gone.
gone. But like I
Did she
said,
leave you the house?
the house with her is gone. My aunt sold it for me.
Okay.
I'm living in my own trailer. This trailer that I'm living in right now is my own trailer. Because if I would have lived in the other one, I'd say it would have cost me more taxes on it. Besides the property taxes.
Okay.
Yep.
Taxes. The way to get out of taxes is to have somebody really good and really well that you trust, and sell them your property for 21 silver dollars, and then you don't file it. You don't file a deed. They're not going to come get your property because you bought it
So,
with silver and gold.
sell it for 19 silver dollars.
You can't. It's got to
Anyway,
be over $20.
because
That's
like I said,
great, Josh. I
even
think
though
it has to be over 21, right? No, really, it has to be over 21.
Yeah, it has to be
21.
21. It's got to
Yep.
be over to $20. So 21 silver dollars pretty much will take your property out of being taxed. And all you do is put it in somebody's name you trust, and they can sell it right back to you for the same $21 you just give them. You know what I'm
Bye,
saying? Uh,
bye, Simon. Finding Keno. Yes, a living estate is much better than a will. A living estate is much better than a will. Also, like I had a power of attorney over my father's affairs before he passed away. So I was able to sell his Impala. I was able to do things that I didn't have to go ask him because me and him had talked about kind of how he wanted things to go. And to me, the most important thing was to carry out his wishes, not what any government wanted, not what my brothers wanted, not what my
that's right.
sisters wanted, what my father wanted. And the hardest thing that I did when my daddy-o passed away is that he wanted me to spread some of his ashes over the muddy creek where he got his first kiss and his first, well, I won't go there. But and it was really hard for me. And Dragonfly stayed in the car and I was like, I got it. I got it. It was so mystical and so eye-opening. But when I set him free over the muddy, part of his ashes drifted back into me. And it was one of those things where you go, wow. Like, Dad, you had to give me one last hoorah. He was a crazy ass. He was a crazy ass, and it made me smile. And then as I walked off the bridge, literally, I had one teardrop because I was just gonna miss him, but I didn't like really break down. I just had one teardrop, and I was like, "That's it, that's it." I did exactly everything he wanted me to do, and I think that's so important when somebody passes. People get so freaking greedy and they get so wrapped up in I want this and I want that. You know what? All I ever wanted from my dad was time. Time. What I would give for 5 more minutes with that man, 5 more minutes would have been, wonderful. And I don't have that 5 minutes, but I
Yeah.
appreciated what the legacy, the things he taught me, because it took us a lot of years to become friends again, and that's rough. That's rough when you're little and you're always looking for your dad and he's not there because he was doing that. But I forgave him. I never forgot it. But the thing is we take so much for granted when it comes to our ancestors, and they were actually very strong, wise people. Our great grandparents, they didn't bite into all this bullshit system. They didn't want a handout. They didn't want food stamps. They didn't want Social Security. They didn't want none of it. They wanted to be left alone to live life, be with God, family, and friends. They didn't care about all the materialistic bullshit. They didn't care about driving the new caddy and having gold on every finger and having digital cable and digital phones and this bullshit and that bullshit. All they wanted was God, family, and friends. And, it would be so wonderful if we could get back to that. That's real. That's, you know, that's real. Like meeting so many of you on the channel has absolutely made my freaking December. It's made my December because now when I see Josh in the chat, I'm like, that's my brother right there. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's so important, man. And to be able to actually talk because you can only freaking be a keyboard warrior so much, and then you're like, oh, screw it.
Yeah, man. And I harass AI so much that my typing looks like I'm in first grade. So I
Yeah,
find it to be funny. I
yeah.
just blame it on my phone being not as smart.
I,
Well,
I
you
can
all,
understand the way you're talking there, Josh. I can understand that there, because I'm the same way. I hunt and peck a lot on my phone, not phone, but I mean my computer. God,
I'll be right back. Y'all hold the show down, but don't be Josh.
I'll
Give
behave.
me. Oh, yeah, sure. Shit, you can't be
don't be
Dave.
picking on me now,
Don't be
because
picking on
pick
poor
on you right
George.
back.
I won't pick on
Right
But
George at all.
okay, I'll be right
I'll be
back.
nice
I'll
to
be right
George
back.
too. Well, I tell you, man, what I have learned is we need to all be learning correct syntax grammar in the now time. Uh, I found the tutor because it was really beyond what I could fathom grasping, and I still don't
Yeah,
understand it well. But I realize we all need to learn that because we're going to a quantum banking system, and
yep.
if we
I'm
don't,
on that.
educate ourselves, we're not going to know. And really, we shouldn't be worried because what I what these people have found out with this with your birth certificate and your social security card is like if you're on social security, you
Yeah,
should get
I'm
like
for creditability.
you should be able to do the same thing with your trust account there and be able to go and purchase you a home and a vehicle and see
Huh.
what
Well,
I've
I
been
could
told to
afford a
do,
vehicle.
huh?
The prices they want for the goddamn cars or trucks nowadays.
You
Uh,
ain't paying it's coming out of your account. You know what I'm saying? And what I've been told to do, like if you go buy a new car, you write the account out, you write the check out for 125,000. That way you can pay the insurance for the life of the vehicle while you got it. You can also have a $15,000 gas card. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming with this because what's going down is we're going back to the republic, and people don't understand that. Uh, what's
yeah,
been done has been an atrocious crime to all of us,
yeah.
and when you think about the money they have printed so much. I've come across another one too, George. If you'll take and go to the post office and get a $500 uh, money order, a postal money order, and mail it to the treasury and put your account, your bank account on it, they will send you back 155,000 federal notes, which is $55,000 for
Huh.
a $500 uh,
I did not know that.
cash.
Dang.
Hold on a minute. Mi-
The postal.
Mi-
Huh?
Josh, hold on a second. Miss Needle, you want to come up and talk to us? You okay? Miss Needle's over there in Germany. She said she's got bad news from Germany too. Come on up. Come up.
Here on another
This is
screen.
this is about all of us. Miss Needle, if you want to come up and get it out,
Yeah,
we're here
please
for you.
do.
We're here for you. That's the whole
Oh
purpose
yeah,
of.
come on up, Miss Eagles.
There, I dropped the link. You know, I wanted to. I heard you guys. I was getting coffee and puffing on a cigarette, and I used to deal in paper. Okay, I was a loan officer down in Dallas before the real estate market
Oh,
crashed. I learned a lot. I'm very very good with numbers, and I had a lady and a man come to me, and they were like in their late 50s at that time. I think I was 35 or something, and they said, "Well, we can't get a house, and we don't think we can get a house, and blah blah blah." And I said, "Let's sit down," and I worked their numbers for them. And I said, "Well, not only can you get a house, but at closing, you're going to get money back." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I said exactly what I said. The banker didn't like me because most people don't know this, but even when you go to get a real estate loan, that yield spread on the back is the loan officer is very manipulative, very manipulative. If, for example, if I got a loan, we'll just make a fictitious number, 6%. I tell you it's 7 3/4, and you say, "Oh, that's a little high." Well, okay, hold on, and I go back to the computer for a minute. Okay, we can get you down a quarter of a point. Oh, you can. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that saves you this much over the course of that loan. Well, the thing is the loan officers. That's how loan officers make their money. I couldn't continue to do it because every time I did a loan, if I could get a half point on the back and give somebody a really good deal, that's what I was doing. And the banker hated me. He's like, "You just did a triple loan for somebody that's a multimillionaire and you only took a half a point on the back." And I did a triple loan with one person, but he didn't like that shit. He wanted me to get 1.5, 1 3/4 on the back, even though this person had prime credit. See, paper, that's when the United States really screwed up, is when we went off of the silver and gold standard, because then they were able to manipulate everything with paper. It's all about paper. Just like the birth certificates, the marriage certificates, the title to your vehicle, everything is about paper. There's nothing really backing it anymore. And that's the problem. And see, when they roll this stuff over, Josh, I really wonder how much they're going to owe each citizen. I pulled up the US. If you go back and watch this morning's show on OTWP, I pulled up the debt calculator for the United States and we watched it in real time. Each one of us, according to their books, we owe $94,000. $94,000. So every child that's born in the United States, the day they're born, the day that they get that birth certificate, $94,000. And as you watch that go up, 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 there is no checks and balances anymore. There's none. And we have to go back to or forward to something new. We have to, because the United States dollar is going to fail because all it is a piece of paper. That's all it
that's
is.
right.
That's all it is. And I think a
think
lot
we've
of. Go ahead, man.
I think we've already went back to the silver standard, but nobody's noticed it yet. Nobody at all, due to the fact of the wording and the way they snug it in there. Uh, I look for silver to go past gold. I look for this. It's $140 billion, by the way, or 140 million. No, it's 140 billion. Uh,
Billion.
it's a lot. It's a lot. It ain't a little. And each one of us have it.
That's why.
Each one of us.
That's why all the countries. If you remember this, about what was it, 7 months ago, I did a special about the gold rush. All of the countries 7, 8 months ago, it really came out if you dug for it. They were all switching over to gold, gold, gold. They were
That's right.
buying
That's what
gold.
bricks is.
Yes, and the bricks is all backed by silver and gold. And the other thing, if you remember this about 3, 4 years ago, no, probably 7, 8 years ago, in small towns popped up all over the United States that these people were coming into small communities, small, poor communities. And what they did is they ran ads in newspapers. They put out flyers, they put out radio announcements, TV announcements. Come to this location. It was usually a civic center or a church, and we're going to buy your silver, your gold from you. And they went around the United States buying up silver and gold. See, people weren't even aware of the whole why were they doing that? Oh, because you gave a shit about me. So you sent out these companies to buy my silver and gold to give me a little bit more money in my pocket. No, to rob your ass, to rob
That's
you
right.
of your silver and gold. And now
Yep.
silver is up, gold's up, and why? And just like crypto, why did crypto fall? Because they couldn't control crypto.
That's
Crypto
right.
fell. Yeah, they fell. They had
It,
to
it,
depo- they had to do something with crypto to make people get leery. And I'll tell you what, I played with crypto. I would put $100 in and pull out 500 like this. 100 in, pull out 4. Put the 100 back in, pull it out again. I was doing it nonstop because I was like, this shit is making money. And I was turning the crypto into cash. See, people didn't understand and people still don't get it. But when they were out pulling all that silver and gold out of the country, it's the same thing they did during World War One and World War II, where it was actually illegal for you to own silver or gold due to
Yep.
the war. Due to the war. No, I wasn't leaving the money in there. I was only it was to me it was like going and playing some lottery tickets. You're taking a risk, a
Slot
hundred
machine, yeah.
bucks. $100 ain't nothing. Pop $100 out. Oh, I made 300. Okay, pull the 200 cash out, let the 100 ride again. And I had fun with it. I don't do it anymore because I seen what was happening. Those guys, those two brothers over in Africa, they set up a big, huge crypto thing in their garage. They had machines everywhere mining for crypto, and then got millions and millions of dollars, millions of investors, and boom, all of a sudden they disappeared. Yeah, yeah. There's some slickster stuff going on right now.
Well, see, that's why we got to learn the grammar, because what they're basically doing is the word grammar is weight in maritime law. So what we got to do is we got to understand the grammar they're using against us, so that we can use that grammar and take back our rights as a person of the land. See, what they do is the only people that judge the land when you go in a courtroom are the ones that are behind the little fence there. Once you go past that little bar, and it's called a bar gate. So you literally going into a maritime situation, and those people are sealed on the bank. They can't even see what's happening out there. They don't have no
Yeah.
right to say anything. So what I figured to do is when you go into a court of law, the judge is on another plane. He's on a paper plane because he has all this paperwork. So if you take a piece of paper and throw it on the floor and stand on it, then you're on a plane. You can speak with that man. But another way you can talk in court is to refuse to go past the bar, because there you're on the land and he'll have to be the one to recognize you on the land.
Yep,
But you need
yep.
to realize you're on a foreign docked vessel, and you, as an American citizen, are a foreigner there. So once you denounce your citizenship and you get your natural person identity and your passport, they won't even allow you up in court, because they know that when you go there, you got the right to get a hold of their Sister K trust, just like they're trying to get into yours.
Yeah.
It puts
And that,
everybody
and
on a
that's
level playing field.
Well, and that's why I was talking about paper and being a loan officer, because I realized the game of paper is huge. And what you were saying about the judge, that shows, they come out and they always have a folder, and they always want you to have an attorney because they want to speak a foreign language to you so that you don't understand. Just like when you look at any bill that DC writes, every single bill that they write, it's not straightforward. Just like the IRS, it's not
Check out
straightforward. It
what
doesn't.
they're doing, man. They're taking 45 days. They'll write a bill, and if it's not enacted in 48 days, it's no good. So the person that writes the bill, this is the reason the president goes to like somewhere else every 45 days, is so that none of what he writes into law goes into law. And they've been doing this since 1999 when it went bankrupt. See, what everybody's got to realize is the Romans said, give them what? Bread and wine and circus, and they'll be fucking fine. Well, that's what we've done. So when you look at your favorite football team and their rival, look at the Republicans and Democrats. They just give you bread and circus. None of those
Yeah.
people are in charge of anything.
Well, it's all just to occupy your mind. They said that every time they come out with a new video game in the United States, that gives them another year to just do whatever they want because people are so distracted. And a dear friend of mine about 2 years ago said every time they try to get us to look over here, she said, no matter how hard it is, KJ, look the opposite direction. And I have lived by that because every time there's a distraction, some big event, and everybody on YouTube's talking about it, over here, they're sliding something in. And everybody's distracted over here because they're feeding you. They're feeding you like, hey, look over here. Come on, all of you come with me because I got you over here. And while you're over there, this hand over here is like a magician and it's coming in. And they're really good at it. They're really good at it. So every time you see a major news breaking news, you see it everywhere all the time. Breaking news, break this bullshit is what you need to say to yourself. Break the bullshit because that's what it
right.
is. That's what it is. And that's
Well,
how
check
they
it out. Don't news mean national entertainment, weather, and sports?
yes, it does.
That's right.
So
I'm a
true.
little
So
rough on
true.
things, man. That's all I sit around and do, man. Is like I'm trying to figure out what 32-pound paper is. Do you know what 32-pound paper is?
32 pound. I'm sure I can
32.
find out. I used to be in the advertising. I mean, I'm sure I can find out. It's
Well,
all
when
just
you
different. It's all just
when
different. It's all different weights of paper. Like,
yeah, well, okay. Well, 32-pound
like
paper becomes a like a mechanic's tool when you go to filing documents on people.
32 pound. I'll
And I'm
send you
trying
an.
to figure.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just because of the thickness. That's all it is. The thickness. There's card stock, and then there's all these different
Well, I
weights.
think the 32-pound paper, once we figure out what it is, we can write our own checks through the trust, through the damn Treasury Department.
Is
We can
Josh
send up our
talking?
own 10.
Hold on a minute. Is Josh talking about becoming a third party creditor?
No, I'm talking about trying to
No.
become your own private bank. A third-party creditor, that would be a private bank, I believe. And what you're
Yeah.
talking about is me writing you a loan out of my trust account, and then 364 days later, you calling me and telling me you can't pay the loan, and I take it out of your trust account back into mine, and then I'll borrow
Yeah.
2 million from you, and we'll continue doing it that way. That way sets us all up to be banks. But first, you got to learn how to be a bank. So you got to do what is that CPA training and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm
I learned all
taking,
this new
I'm
fancy ass
basically
math.
taking notes from everybody and trying to figure out how the common guy can do it without any training.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Well,
about as simple as they get.
we're gonna have another show over here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. It's called Barbaric, and we're gonna talk about that we all have the right to use this land. and we kind of got into it tonight. But I want to take us down a rabbit hole. So I hope that you all come back. Um, this was a really good live again. I really like how we've set up this channel to have panels and have a specific topic and then kind of just go, because I think it's really important for people to wake up and realize that we are getting robbed. And until we change it, we're going to continue to get robbed, because that's the whole purpose of the whole program. Most of the countries around the world at this point are bankrupt because they've loaned to each other paper, and the paper is coming due. And now, because everybody's turning their back on the United States, they all are going to want that paper due and paid for. And it's not going to happen. And when that happens, that's when we are going to see the petrodollar completely fall off the chart. It's already happening with BRICS. It's already happening. And we're going to see
Yeah, I
it more.
imagine the dollar's worth a dime. You know what I mean? If it's
Yeah,
worth that,
yeah. And
just
well,
by what
and
you can buy
imagine,
with it.
well, with hyperinflation, shrinkflation, taxes, everything. When you take $100 bill and chop it up, maybe we'll do that tomorrow night. I'll take some time and chop up $100 bill and make a graph. And when you really see it, that's when you go, whoa, shit. That's when you really realize how scandalous this bullshit is, how scandalous it is. But I'm going to play one song on the way out. Josh and George, thanks for coming up on the
Take care.
panel. I hope you come back up. Josh, you behaved very well, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was trying. You know, sometimes I get a little. You know, depends on how well my evening's been going. I might be a little, a little too much for people.
I was a
Like
little
today,
over
I
the
went.
I was a
Today, I
little
went
over
to a
the
court.
top. I was over the top this morning because I get so pissed off about how they're sending all this money. They're printing this paper and they're sending it Ukraine, 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 and yet we have kids that aren't getting fed good in schools. We have people that are living paycheck to paycheck. We have veterans that are on the street with mental conditions as well as physical. We have people in this country that are starving. We have people in this country that money should be going to instead of printing more and more paper and sending it overseas. It's a great scam. It's a great scam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
look all the damn we helped during World War II. We've helped rebuild Japan. We've helped rebuild Germany, England, all these countries that we've helped rebuild. Have they ever paid us back? Nope. Okay, you
No.
remember when that? Okay, one sec here. Okay, you remember when we had that hurricane come through? I think it was Louisiana. Yeah, it was through Louisiana. The only country that come to our aid was our neighbors down there south of the border, right there, Mexico. They were the only ones that come in and helped us out. They sent some of their men in to go and help out with all the cleanup and other stuff like that over there in New Orleans, over there in Louisiana. I thought that was so nice of them.
Well, what we should talk about one night is how the United States went from the referee to the universal police. Because I'll tell you what, when you go down that rabbit hole, and there's a great documentary. I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it. There's a great documentary how the United States used to sit down with everybody and be the referee. And then they switched over to the universal police. And that's when the United States really started having serious, serious problems. Because then once we became the universal police, and we go in and we destroy a country, we kill people, we ravage the land, we take the oil, all the resources, then we are obligating ourselves as a country to go back and rebuild that shit for them free of charge. And that's we need to go down that rabbit hole. But there's so many topics that we can talk about, and I appreciate everybody. But what I'm going to say right now is let's light this baby on fire. Let this baby burn, 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 and I'll see you two tomorrow night,
Take
as
care.
well as everybody in the chat. I appreciate you being here. But I'll tell you what, I think there comes a time and a point that we need to just say, let it burn, put it on fire, and light this baby up. Because until it all falls, we're all doomed to repeat the same bullshit time in and time again. So at this time, let's take it on out with Light It Up. Everybody, light this shit up on fire. Let the bitch burn. Oh, Dragonfly said I can't say bitch. Let the baby burn.
My soul got the same on my necklace, bitch.
Light it up. Everybody have a good night. God bless you. Walk in faith, light, love, and hope. Until I see you again, my friends, God willing, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for being here. And remember, light it up. God bless y'all. Boom. Chugga lucka boom.